Hi and welcome back. For those of you who follow me on Facebook or watch the videos that I put out on my Patreon page, you know that I've been involved in a pretty major project with our local makerspace. So I thought I'd shoot a quick video to update you on what I've been working on, because even though that job's been over for a couple of weeks, I still haven't been producing videos, so I thought you deserved an explanation. First of all, you have to understand that when I start working on a project, especially one that requires a lot of head scratching or design work, I totally get wrapped up in that project and I basically lose all sense of time. So I may have the perception that I've been working on something for a few days, but in reality, it may be a couple of weeks or more. And what I'm working on now is a perfect example of that. The next series of videos that I'm going to be doing is basically remaking a lot of the early videos that I did back when my channel was called The Iron Workshop, and I believe YouTube was only a couple of years old. I don't have any problem with the information I put out in those videos, but basically they're pretty crummy videos. I really didn't know what I was doing in terms of the video work, and at that time you couldn't load a high def video to YouTube, and you had to keep them short. 5 to 10 minutes was their max. So even if I just wanted to re-edit the videos, the video quality just isn't there, so I have nothing to work with, and that really isn't an issue anyway, because I feel that a lot of them just really need to be redone. You know, I've gained a lot of experience and I have a lot of different ideas, or I think better ideas about how these videos should be put together, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. But before I start doing that, I felt that I needed to do a lot of modifications or improvements to the shop in order to get the video quality that I'm after. Now, a lot of the stuff is just basic maintenance and housekeeping, you know, putting stuff away and getting rid of stuff. But there were a couple of issues that I felt were real stumbling blocks to being able to put out the videos that I'm looking for. One of them was my camera stands. I built them a few years ago and they were great for, you know, what I needed then, and I've been really happy with them. But now I find that I'm moving the camera around a lot more, and they're not really designed for that. They're really cumbersome, and you know, messing with them for, you know, a day's work can really add a lot of time. So I wanted to fix that. And the other one, which is actually the most major problem, is my forge. It needs basically a total rebuild. And this is all just, you know, regular maintenance and improvement of things that comes around every once in a while. You have to deal with it. Sometimes you realize that, you know, something you set up and, you know, you thought was going to work isn't working, so you have to change it. You know, it's just routine, mundane work, and it's all stuff that I would never even think about turning the camera on and filming, because it's just, you know, not video worthy in my estimation. You know, and let's face it, who wants to watch me shoveling out clinkers from the bottom of my forge for 10 minutes, you know? So I found over the years the best way to approach it is just to give it your full concentration and, you know, just get the work behind you so you can get back to doing what you should be doing. So if I kind of take little side trips once in a while, 90% of the time, that's what I'm doing. You know, I see something that needs improving, I get more and more frustrated with it till a point where I just stop what I'm doing and deal with it. So this is the main item that I needed to deal with this go-around of improvements. This is the fire pot that I've been using since I started. I bought this in 1979, and at that point it was probably at least 50 or 60 years old, and it did have two hairline cracks on each side of the fire pot. But this thing has been solid for all of these years, and I just recently noticed that these cracks are getting larger, and my concern now is that, you know, this split is just going to join up on the two sides, and it's going to dump hot coals all over the ground and probably set fire to the building. So this is the main issue that I need to deal with right now. So I'm going to be retiring this fire pot, and I do have one that I started a few years ago when I first decided that this was going to need to be done. So I'm going to finish putting that in, and I'm going to make a few other changes to the forge that have been bothering me, again, while I'm at it. I built this hood scoop to direct the heat from the fire into the stack because I had to put the opening so far away from the fire pot. This corner was the only place that I could set the forge up, and I couldn't put the stack on the side of the fire pot the way it's normally done. I had to put it behind, so I moved it as far back as I could, and I built this scoop to get the hot gases in there. But I'm realizing that it's a little too low, and it's a little longer than it needs to be, and I'm pretty confident that if I raise it up and cut the front end back a little bit, I'll still get the same effect, and I'll get a lot more working space around the forge, and it'll also be easier to get the camera in there to look at the forge and see what I'm doing. So at this point I have everything taken apart, and I'm starting to mock up some of the changes that I want to make. I'm just tacking everything for now, and then if I like it, I'll actually weld it all together. So I'm a little further along here. I've spared you a lot of welding and grinding and muttering to myself, but the two main components that I have set up here is the blower is now sitting tucked away parallel to the forge, so the handle is no longer in the way. It used to be at an angle, and every time I tried to crank and work in the fire, the handle was always hitting me in the ribs, and especially if I was working on a longer piece, I had nowhere to stand. So that was one of the issues that I wanted to take care of. And the other thing, I have extended that little shelf that I'm using to elevate the hood. Now I have an edge where I can lock the bricks in, and it forms a good shelf for the hood. Here I have the fire pot that's setting in. It's basically an exact replica of the one that I took out, and following the patterns that I've laid out. And the good thing about this is I'm going to be able to reuse the air pipe that I took out of the existing forge, so that'll mean a lot less fabrication. So here's the hood scoop back in place, and you can see how just those simple modifications really help to improve the visibility inside the forge and the working area around the forge. So I just have to attach the air pipe, and I'm basically back in business. Hi, I'm Dennis, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can contact me directly by emailing the address I have displayed here. If you want to find out more about me and what I'm working on right now, go to my website, dfntheshop.com.